Boy, what a story. Here, Bob, this ought to be good for a banner headline.
Let's see. Football fund to be used for projector. Sports fans of Central High School will be shocked to hear... Francis, you'd better sit in on this.
What is it?
They're using money from the football fund to buy a movie projector.
This is a honey of a story, but we've got to be careful. Jim, are you sure you have all the facts on this story?
You bet I'm sure. It isn't fair to take the money we save for football uniforms to buy a projector.
Remember, it's only a rumor that the football money is going to... Did you check up on that?
Oh, it's the football fund, all right. Other student funds have any money in them.
Does that sound right to you, Francis?
I guess so. Anyway, I know the football fund has a lot more in it than any other school fund.
Well, I guess we have a story, all right. How did you get the facts, Jim?
How did I get the facts? Well, I went straight to the people who know.
I ought to know whether we need new uniforms. Look what I have to wear. Look at the junk. And they talk about a projector. With our money.
How much does it cost to run a projector? Well, I'll tell you the facts. It costs me around $700 a month to operate each one of them.
So it's going to take a lot more money to run the projector.
Wait a minute, Jim. Are you sure it costs that much?
Well, that's what Mr. Lawrence said. He ought to have the facts.
No.
Still sounds like too much. Go on.
Oh, next I got some opinions on the matter. They liven up the story even more.
A new projector? My, you children have so many things. Dances, parties, games. If you ask my opinion, the school doesn't need anything more for entertainment.
What do I think? I don't know. Anyway, we've gotten along without a projector so far. If we didn't need one before, why do we need one now?
Well, if they were going to use the track team's money, I'd sure raise a fuss. Besides, how can they afford a new projector? They say they can't afford a new gymnasium, and we need that.
And that's how it is. It's a hot story.
I don't know about those quotes of opinion, Jim. How does Mrs. Richardson know the projector is for entertainment? Is it?
Mary says we don't need a projector. Folks used to say we didn't need a home economics kitchen.
Yes, and Jack's remarks about not being able to afford a projector. Would it cost as much as a gymnasium?
Well, I was only getting representative opinions.
But this isn't the place for opinions. We need to check our facts. There's so many things in the story that don't seem right. Say, why don't you see Mr. Wells?
Good idea. If anybody knows the facts, the principal ought to.
Well, all right. I guess I'd better check the story with him.
I'm glad you came to see me about this, Jim. And I agree that you have an important story.
Well, that's what we think, Mr. Wells.
And I'm also glad that you're interested in being sure of the facts.
Yes, sir.
But there's one very important fact you've missed.
What's that?
Here, this memorandum will interest you.
From Mrs. Keith, PTA. Proposal to buy classroom projectors. So that's where this got started.
Yes, but not in the way you think. Look down here, Jim.
Source of funds, PTA dues. Do you mean that they're going to buy another projector? Then we'll have two projectors and still no football uniforms.
No, Jim. We'll have one projector and a new set of uniforms. Later, we hope to buy more projectors. But there's really no connection at all between the projectors and the football uniforms.
But, Mr. Wells, I heard the football fund was going to be spent for the projector.
Well, I suppose that story started, Jim, when people learned that we were investigating the cost of projectors. Somebody put two and two together and got the wrong answer. You know how rumors like that become more positive as they pass along. And they don't stop until somebody investigates and judges the facts. Now that the PTA plan is officially approved, we can announce it.
Well, thanks, Mr. Wells. Thanks a lot. I guess I better examine all the rest of my story.
Yes, Jim can profit by closely re-examining his story. And all of us can profit by helping him judge his facts. Now let's see. Although the football team is desperately in need of new uniforms, that may be true, but does it have anything to do with projectors? That's right, Jim. Irrelevant facts are of little use to us. We can collect all kinds of facts, but they have no meaning for us until we are sure they fit our particular problem. Let's watch out for irrelevant facts. Now, as to the cost of running a projector, in a theater where the owner has to hire professional projectionists and all, it may cost $700 a month to operate a projector. But does that apply to a classroom projector? Since teachers and students can run them, the operating cost of a classroom projector should be negligible. That's what we call a false analogy. Two things which appear similar on the surface may be vitally different in many details. Watch for false analogies. Well, let's go on to re-examine those opinions. What was it Mrs. Richardson said?
A new projector. My, you children have so many things. Dances, parties, games. If you want my opinion, the school doesn't need anything more for entertainment.
Uh-oh. There's an assumption. Would you go over that last again, Mrs. Richardson?
I said the school doesn't need anything more for entertainment.
Entertainment? Mrs. Richardson, modern schools use projectors and classroom films for instruction. Well, we hear assumptions like this all the time. Of course, our assumptions may be correct, but we must always examine them carefully to be sure. Well, what about Mary's opinion?
What do I think? Well, I don't know. Anyway, we've gotten along without a projector so far. If we didn't need one before, why do we need one now?
Sounds like a platitude. Let's have that last sentence again, Mary.
If we didn't need one before...
What was good enough for Grandma is good enough for you, eh? Horse and buggy? Kerosene lamps?
High-button shoes.
That's right. Let's watch out for platitudes. They don't always have meaning. A new broom sweeps clean. Sometimes. A woman's place is in the home. Well, perhaps it's best to forget our platitudes and do some real thinking. Some thinking about Jack's remarks, for example. Let's watch for the flaw in Jack's reasoning.
How can they afford a new projector? They say they can't afford a new gymnasium, and we need that.
Uh-oh. Double meanings, Jack. Will you repeat that?
How can they afford a new projector? They say they can't afford a new gymnasium.
That's enough, Jack. You're using the word afford to mean two different things in the same thought. You see, you might be able to afford a new bicycle, but would that mean you could afford a new house? Let's all think carefully about what our words mean, for confused meanings can give us faulty facts. Yes, to get at the facts, we must examine assumptions, analogies, platitudes, and meanings. We must judge the facts, for the facts are worth knowing.